Thank you very good. Thank you very much. So, good morning, all of you, and welcome to this presentation. APA is the insurance of your choice. They take care of your needs, especially medical needs and others. And we work in collaboration with the psychological health services. As Zainab has said, my area of specialization is mental health, and I've worked in various hospitals, Aga Khan and MV Sharp. Today, we are going to look at one of the most common phenomenon, and this is basically what we talk about, depression. And we cannot talk about depression without talking about mental health and talking more about what we mean by mental health. So we'll be looking at mental health and wellness. And in mental health and wellness, we are going to ask ourselves, why is it so important today that many people are looking at the issue of mental health? Why has it become so important? Yet, in our culture where we come from, mental health was kind of stigmatized. Many people did not talk about mental health the way we do today. But if you look at what is going on now, mental health is becoming a very common issue. And the question many people will be asking, why is it very common? Why are we talking about mental health? And the reason for this is because we have realized, and it is very well known, that you cannot talk about health without talking about mental health. It's not possible because mental health is part of the health of the person. So when you're looking at health issues, you cannot say you cannot look at mental health. It's part of what we call the definition of health. And I'll be talking about what is health so that you can see how mental health is intertwined with the general health of the person. So the importance of mental health is also in the work environment activity. When we have healthy people, we will have people who are working well and improving their productivity. So it has been linked that when you have too many depressed people or stressed people in the production, you can't really get what you're looking for. So that is why mental health becomes important when we talk about productivity. And of course, when we look at the what we call the demographic survey, what Kenya looks at in terms of socio-economic development, the mental health policy 2015-2030 talks about mental health as a key determinant of overall health and socio-economic development. That means when you look at health and the way people are developing, you cannot look at it without addressing the issue of health. And that's why we say there's no health without mental health. But when you look at the bigger definition of mental health, we call it a state of well-being. A state of well-being. Sometimes many people think about it as a state of not having any illness. No, it's a state of well-being in which the individual can realize his or her own ability. You are so well that what you want to do, what you want to achieve, you can be able to achieve. Mental health is not about the issue of not shouting. No, there are many people who are not shouting. There are many people who are not having all those symptoms that you think about, but they're not healthy. They're not having what we call optimal mental health. So when we talk about mental health, we are talking about three things. Number one, as an individual, your capacity to realize your own ability. You have that potential, is not blocked by anything, is not blocked by your mental faculties. Number two, you are able to cope with the normal stresses of life. What I'm trying to say is that there is no life without stress. And when you are able to prepare, when you are resilient enough to move from one hurdle to another, to overcome them, and doesn't bring you down, that is when we say that you are able to, you are mentally well. And the other one is that you are able to work productively and fruitfully. You can look back and see the steps of what you have done. If you look at yourself this year and maybe last year and ask yourself, I work, what can I attribute that gives me personal satisfaction, that makes me happy with my work, and that makes me feel happy that I'm working? And am I having an impact in what I'm doing in terms of my investment, in terms of my family well-being, in terms of the way I mix with other people, in terms of my workplace? These are what we call working productively. And finally, you are able to make a contribution to your family and to the society and to your work. What you're doing now, we are creating an impact. So you are able to create that impact to your family. You're able to create that impact to your workplace. You are able to create that impact into your life. So when you are able to cope with all issues, when you are able to realize your potential, when you are able to cope with the normal stresses of life, when you feel optimally well, that is when you talk about mental health. And mental health comes from what you call the bigger healthy concept. And when we talk about health, we talk about the state of well-being, where we look at the physical, we look at the mental, and we look at the social. When the mental, the physical, and the social are working very well, then you can say that person is a healthy person. But when somebody is not able to realize his potential, the stresses of life has brought him down. He cannot look back in his life and see any productivity or fruitfulness of what he's doing, and is not able to make any contribution to the society or to the family he lives. That person, we can say, he's mentally unwell. And it's very correct. When you look at people who suffer from serious mental illness, there is no contribution they can make to their family, to their own well-being. They cannot manage their stresses of life. And that's where we are bringing the bigger concept of mental health. Now, when you talk about mental health, there are many issues that we need to and matters that we talk about. And mental health is a challenge to the society. And that's basically what we are trying to look at. Because many people who have suffered mental health in our society, we are coming from a place of stigma. In fact, today we are even talking about it better than we used to talk some few years back. You tell somebody you deal with mental health, he says you deal with crazy people. You tell somebody you deal with mental health, ask you, do you work in Madari? And this is where we are coming from. In our society, mental health had a lot of challenges in terms of how it was viewed. And mentally viewed people are viewed with stigma, even their families. I remember sometimes you hear some cultures saying, we don't marry from this and that clan. These people usually get crazy, so we don't marry from them. We don't marry from so and so, or this person is a witch. All those things we have come up. When we see mentally sick people, we think of stoning them, we think of running away from them. Most of the people who have mental health issues are open to discrimination, abuse of personal dignity, inhuman degrading treatment, sometimes sexual violence and exploitation, and most of them go through psychological stress. And that's what we see in our society. And also the culture. Sometimes we didn't know how to treat people with mental health condition. Many times you say they are possessed, they have the demons. And you look at yourself and say, what do I have to do with the demons? If you come to religious connotation, you talk about people being possessed, you talk about the evil spirits. So we are coming from a world where mental health, because people don't understand. And basically, this is not just all mental health issues. It's just one where people have hallucinations, where people have delusions. That is where people now start talking about what you call possession and all that. And all these things have led to a lot of awareness. Sometimes we pass a lot of myths about mental health. Sometimes it's out of poor diagnosis. And so mental health remains a challenge to our society. But how does it affect us? If you look at these two people in that caption, that kind of an explosion, if it's too much, you'll find that one of them will not be able to get the sleep. And that means whatever has gone on has disturbed their psyche, their mind. They are not able to function optimally. And so when we talk about mental health, we are talking about those issues we are coming from culture, where we are coming from a world of stigma, world of discrimination, to a world of saying that's understanding. But when would we say that somebody has a mental health crisis? Because that is where we need to start. For you to be told you have a mental health, maybe you have a mental health crisis. Number one, we say you have a mental health crisis when you are not able to deal with the daily routines of life. You used to wake up, groom yourself, go to work. You have a routine of doing things the way you want to. But when you have a serious mental health challenge, that kind of thing you do, as simple as even attending your duties of brushing your teeth, you don't remember it. You find yourself occupied with what is eating you up. Sudden change in mood. You are a kind of a guy or a lady who usually very happy, who usually have what you call moderate mood or calm person. But now you are oscillating from one end to another for no reason. People don't understand. Why is it today you are so angry and within a shorter period of time you are very friendly? Why is it that you're withdrawing from people? You used to be very, very sociable, mixing with the people, helping them, working for them, and enjoying the company of people. But all at sudden, you're now saying, leave me alone. You're staying on your own. The other one is bound of extreme happiness. It's almost what we call mania. People don't understand why you are so happy like this. At the same time, you have a very serious wave of depression where you are withdrawing from people, you are covering yourself, you say, leave me alone. In addition, you find yourself having what you call verbal threats. In other words, what you are trying to fix is not working, and now you resort to violence, either violence physical or verbal threats, sometimes using abusive language that you never used before. The other one you can see is what you call paranoia, fear of the unknown. You seem to what you call wasiwasi all the time, inability to stay in touch with reality. You talk about things impending. You hear people talking about negative tomorrow, things are not to be well. And you find somebody who has been very, very optimistic in life. Now he's extremely pessimistic. He doesn't see anything positive in life, doesn't see what is going on, and you wonder what's going on. Extreme isolation. You used to be very sociable with people, you used to participate in church, in other things, but now you say, leave me alone. You don't want people in your house. You don't visit people, and you don't want to be visited. You want to be alone. Then abuse to themselves and other people. You find yourself involved in activities that hurt yourself. We have seen this especially in young people, where you find out when they are so stressed and when they are depressed, they even resort to cutting themselves, especially the cutting on the wrist. We call it self-harm. Eventually, people even take their own life. And restlessness, where you find out you can't even stay still. You can't sleep, you go to bed, you're out of bed. You can't get the sleep. You have a lot of problem with sleep, either delayed sleep, early loss of sleep, or disturbed sleep. And when you wake up, you're so tired, you do not sleep enough. Then you're asking yourself, what's going on in you? Then amnesia, forgetfulness. You used to be you are a person who really puts things and you recall where they are. But nowadays, you even put a key and you look for it when it's in the pocket. You look for something, you can't find it. And you wonder what's wrong. Acute forgetfulness, what you call insomnia. What you call amnesia. You keep on forgetting, especially things to do with the short-term memory. Things that you have done yesterday or earlier on, and you cannot remember where they are. Then the other problem that you are likely to see is what you call anorexic disturbances. Issues to do with the food. You don't feel like you are enjoying food anymore. You are not eating. And people ask you, what's wrong? You say, I don't feel hungry. I can't sleep for 2 days. When you see those kind of extreme issues in terms of sociability, in terms of insomnia, in terms of amnesia, forgetfulness, in terms of mood, and in terms of sometimes becoming verbally violent or isolation, then we can literally be able to look at these patterns. The pattern we are seeing, this person is not normal. This person could be a crisis, and that's what you call a mental health crisis. But what is today we are going to look more of the depression. But let's ask, what is the trends in depression in Kenya? A few years ago, in 2019, Kenya was rated the 6th depressed nation in Africa. That is a WHO report that was released in March 21. And this was after Nigeria, Ethiopia, DRC Congo, South Africa, and Tanzania. We are number 6. And when you look at the general population, we are talking about 1.9 million Kenyans have suffered from a depressive situation one way or the other in the course of their life. That comes to about 4.4%. And we know now with the economical recession, when things are not doing well, we already know that the issue of mental health goes up. When people are so stressed, when people cannot meet the daily needs of their life, the issue of stress, the issue of mental health issues tends to go up depending on how people are going through, because they are not able to meet their normal needs. Remember when I talked about mental health, I talked about work productively and fruitfully. People have lost jobs. People are not able to see the fruit of their business. So they are not working productively and fruitfully. So there is an association that when we have more poverty issues, when you have more economic recession, then mental health issues tends to go up. And that includes even cases of suicide caused by depression, because most of the suicide cases are caused by depression. And we also know that when you talk about those economic recession, especially the provider, the men are likely to even suffer more, even mental health, and even the issue of depression and suicide. We say men are likely to die of suicide more than women. And that's a statement we have used before. It's a research that has shown more men die of suicide and than women, but more women try to attempt suicide more than men, particularly sometimes because women are looking for attention. But you find out men, most of the time, those who do that are escaping from a problem. And so they look for the opportune time, opportune moment in a lonely environment, and they are trying to run away. Women will always say, yes, I'm going to die. I'm taking this medication. I'm going to hang myself. I'm going to do ABCD to annihilate my life because of ABCD. If there's somebody closer to them, you say, okay, don't you have to do that? Let's talk. Let's see how it can be done. Now, what are the most prevalent mental health conditions that are likely to prompt you to call us and to call for help? And this one doesn't mean that you can't suffer from it. Anybody can suffer from it. There are many reasons that would make people seek for psychological support. Number one, depression. And depression is a state of sadness which lasts for more than 2 weeks, where you feel you are not happy, and a lot of things I'm going to mention going forward. The other one is what we call stress. And stress is a state of anxiety and apprehension where you feel that you are not settled, where you feel something is wrong in your life, but you can't identify what it is. As a result, it is characterized by what you call pressure. It is characterized by what you call frustration. It is characterized by what you call conflict. And probably you have even gone through symptom of PTSD or what you call the rehearsals. That is stress. Then anxiety is when you feel unsettled, restless, feel like something is going on in my life. My stomach is full of butterfly, and you don't know, and that affects your daily function. When those things are there, you'll find somebody saying, I need to talk to somebody. I need to know what is going on. The second one is when you have marital problem. I can say this is the biggest, where you find out that you are in a relationship. And when you look at marital problems and relation conflict, the two of them go together because not everybody is in a marriage relationship. And not all relationships are marital in nature. But marital relationship is one of the biggest contributor to depressive condition and the things that will actually make you look for help because either you cannot agree, things are not going the way you want, your expectations are not met, you are feeling frustrated, you are feeling betrayed, you are feeling all those things that make you angry, and you cannot get out. Those ones will actually make it. Those ones will contribute to a mental health challenges and are likely to send you for help. The other one is what you call relationship conflict, and that is when you cannot agree. You have a conflict with somebody, you are frustrated, either between you and your partner, between you and your boyfriend, girlfriend, between you and your children, between you and your adolescent boy or girl. You can't get along. So, or between you and your relatives, you find out you are fighting over this, fighting over that. That relationship conflict is likely to make your mind be occupied. You feel like everybody is pointing, like this girl who is in this photo. You feel like everybody is pointing at your head and you're asking, what's wrong? School and work-related issue, this is especially more common with adolescent and children. When they are going through a challenge in school, you find out that they also start experiencing this problem. They run away from school, they refuse to go to school in the morning. You find out even at work, when you are very stressed, you find out you start going to work late, you start missing work, you have very frequent days of absenteeism and various reasons. Either you attended a funeral, and you attend a funeral of everybody. And then after funerals of everybody, relatives, friends, and all that, then you start looking for issues that what you're telling us in a different language that you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel like you are working productively. Alcohol and drug abuse. Sometimes it's like a chicken and an egg. What comes before the other? Is it alcohol and drug abuse that brings depression, or is it the depression that leads you to abuse alcohol and drug? The two can be interrelated. It can start either way. You start taking alcohol and you start taking drugs, you enter into depression. Or you are suffering from a certain depressive condition, either because you are having issues to do with all the things I've mentioned, and then you decide to escape to alcohol. You start to drink more to escape from the problem. Eventually, the depression. So the two of them can be, you can start either way. So we have seen people when they are very depressed, they start taking drugs and the alcohol and they get very depressed. There are people who are very, very depressed and they say, the only way I can leave myself and get to sleep is when I start drinking or taking drugs. So it can go like that. Parenting issues. Your children, they are giving you headache and you find out you did your job very well, you brought them very well, took them to the best school. But as soon as they become adolescent and they are Gen Z going on, you can't agree on one or two other issues. That can be difficult. The other thing that affects all of us is trauma and what you call bereavement. I'm sure all of us, maybe in the course of life, we have experienced a loss of somebody very dear to us. And some losses can literally destabilize you completely, especially when you have lost somebody who is very dear to you. Be it a parent, be it a spouse, be it a child, it can put you on the radar. And that's why when we are going through these things, we bank on our friends to support us. We bank not just necessarily money, just to tell us, Pore, to be there for us, and also to help us ease the burden that we are going through. So bereavement, especially when it comes in and it has come in as what we call tragic. It's not something that you look forward. Somebody has not even been sick. You just wake up in the morning, so and so is not there. Very dear to you, leave you in a situation of confusion. That can herald mental illness. Trauma, you have gone through certain experiences. Like you see some of the Gen Z, some of the people who went through all those torturous things, people who have gone through accidents, people who have gone through situations that put their life at a risk. They experience three things: intrusive thoughts. They reenact what went through. They have hyper arousal. all those symptoms make them not able to adjust. And that's why sometimes you may need to call on us and see whether we can assist you. Lifestyle diseases, some of the diseases that are being, people are being diagnosed are a leading cause of depressive illness. Talk about cancer. Talk about other terminal conditions that tends to derail your life. You look at your life, you had a lot of potential, but because of this situation, HIV, we are now trying to cope with it because we know there are medications that you can take and cope in life, become almost negative. You can also be able even to get children when you're HIV positive. But it used to be such a disease that caused a lot of devastation and killed so many people in our society. So all those reasons are will lead to what we call mental distress. When you have a mental distress, that is the time you need to look for help. You don't have to wait until you are admitted in the hospital with a serious mental illness. This is why these services are available so that you can come in and assist you. Now, when you talk about mental health, we talk about 4 basic dimensions. And you are going to look at that and see, do I feel the same? Is this the same process that we're talking about in terms of understanding what I'm doing? 1, thoughts. When you have a mentally, or when we are stressed, or when we are disturbed in our mind, number 1 thing that we go through is what we call our thoughts. And our thoughts are predominantly negative because we are trying to run away from what is giving us trouble. Can't, as a result of that, you find out we are preoccupied most of the time with what is eating up. And when you have something, when you have a debt, when you have something that you're doing somebody and things are not working, you find out most of the time we're preoccupied. And those thoughts may lead to what we call positive decision making or negative judgment. And even people who have seen them resigning, and ask them, why are you resigning? I disagree with your boss. I can't continue working here. But if you examine exactly what they are doing, maybe resigning is the best decision, but they're trying to run away from the situation they are in. Maybe it is, or maybe it's not. So the question is that these things that are going on in their mind are causing a lot of distress. And this is one part of the mental health issue. The second one is behavior. You find out you used to be a very organized person, used to do a war, used to come to work on time. But from when you started experiencing a certain difficulty in your life, then you start getting work late. You start neglecting duties that you used to do. You start drinking heavy. You start missing going home. You start things that people can look at and say, no, this is not the person you know. This person has dramatically changed. Young children are very easy to observe because when they are going through a situation, you find out even if they used to enjoy coming to have dinner with you, they want to have dinner in their bedroom. They are isolating themselves, or they are getting involved in behaviors that are dangerous. Somebody who's not smoking, not doing this. So we observe a set of behavior and say these behaviors are not normal, they are not consistent with what we do. So mental health can be observed. And that's why you have seen people who are even drunk. The way they shout, the way they talk, it's not what they do before they have taken these things. So what is going on in their mind makes them behave different. Our body is what you call the center of noticing whether we have a mental health challenge. And our body can mark a few things that will tell you something's not going on. One, when people are very anxious, one of the things that we see common is palpitation. Roho inapiga haraka na unasikia inapiga karibu natoka. And breathing difficult. You find out that you are becoming breathless. Many people who suffer from what we call panic attack, one of the things affecting them is breathing. You tell you, I feel like I'm dying, I'm not getting enough enough air, and all those kind of. So breathing issues and palpitation is one common sense of acute stress issues. Digestive problem, find out that either they're not eating or when they eat, is to complain about stomach having issues and all those things, gas, and even issues to do with the ulcers, all those are related to this kind. All these gastrointestinal problems can also be attributed to stress. But any chemicals, basically what we talk about hormones, especially I will be mentioning about them later on, that also contribute to our mental health. So you find out when you are depressed, chemicals like dopamine, serotonin are interfered. And that's basically why we put even some antidepressant. Sleep and appetite problems are common phenomenon. When you are going through a mental health challenges, sleep will be disturbed. And that's why when you go to a general practitioner, will ask you, is your sleep normal? The next thing he will ask you, are you eating well? And if you tell him you're not eating for the last 2 days and you don't feel hungry, then he knows that you have a problem. Or probably you can also say, I'm eating throughout. Every other 10 minutes, I'm eating something. Then it seems you are trying to get a relief from something by eating. The other one that we suffer from is what we call libido problems. That is basically relationship issues. Those sexual issues actually get to pack when you have a mental health problems. and they don't get any of the relief that you get when we talk about those issues. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? Do I seem to have retired a little bit earlier, or do I seem to have a problem such that the response, the arousal, the performance, the orgasmic issues are no longer happening? This is because of mental health challenge. So you can see mental health affect other things, including emotions, the pleasant and unpleasant emotions, restlessness and tension. So when we look at mental health, we look at those 4 dimensions. What are your thoughts? How has our behavior been affected by your thoughts? What is your body reaction? What is your body saying in terms of the things that are going on, so that you can know how to deal with them? And emotions, what type of emotions are you exhibiting that are causing you those distress? So as we look at that general introduction, let's now zero in to something called depression. And many people have asked this question: what is depression? And I'm sure we have used these words in many ways. There are times you wake up in the morning and people say, I feel so depressed today. I don't know what to do this evening. But is that the depression? Or I went to work today, the reports were not ready. I was so depressed. But is that what we're talking about? Today we are talking about what we call clinical depression. Depression enough to say that you are having a problem. That's what we're talking about today. And we are going to look at the symptoms. What are the symptoms that you are likely to see to know that somebody is depressed? Remember, it's not a one-off symptom. It's a combination of symptoms. We are looking at the cause, and we are going to look at the 5 causes. We are also going to look at the risk factors, and we are going to ask ourselves, is there treatment for depression? Is there anything we can do? And I can tell you all these are manageable. And because depression is so common in our society, we are going to look into details and probably see what can you do for yourself and for your friends. So what is depression? I usually define depression by looking at the animals in Lake Naivasha. And I've used this example very many times. The hippos. Those who have gone to Lake Naivasha will see the hippos. And most of the time, the hippos are underwater during the day. What you're likely to see is only the ears and probably the kichwa, the macho kidogo, and then they immerse themselves in water. People who are depressed are like hippos. They are underwater. The biggest chunk of what is bothering them is underwater. They just wake up a little bit, get some air, and go down deep in water. And depression, we say, is a mood disorder that causes persistent feeling of sadness, worthlessness, and loss of interest in things that were interesting in the past. Please let's take note of that. That most of the time you are feeling sad, unhappy, and you're feeling like the world is not on your side. The other time you feel like I am good for nothing. I am useless. I've been misused. People have dumped me. I am worth nothing now. And the other one is that because I am sad, because I am useless, I'm worthless, I've been exploited, people have milked me out of everything, then you lose interest in the whether you used to enjoy work, it's no longer makes sense. You used to go to church, it no longer makes sense. You used to go to social gathering, it no longer makes sense. And depression becomes an overwhelming feelings. And you feel too hard when you feel like you are left on your own and you can't hold joy. Issues to do with joy start to worry. That is what we call depression. If you look at that guy there, it's like when people say, I've reached the end. I can't go beyond this. And at that point, then you say somebody needs help. We also look at depression as a complex. If you look at that girl sleeping on the chair, it's somebody telling you, I'm on my own. You are just digesting what's going on. It is a complex condition that we can say is caused by a combination of factors rather than a single thing. And all those things will mean the social issues, the way we interact with the people, the psychological issues, what is going on in our mind, our thoughts, and the biological influences. How is our body reacting to what's going on in our mind? Now, when you look at depression, we have many times people ask, what is this depression? We have what we call major depression. We have what we call melancholia. That is a depression where you find somebody is predominantly uh, behaving different, behaving even maniac kind of, but he's very depressed. There's also what you call psychotic depression, where it's not just depression, but you are hearing voices. You are suspecting people are going to hurt you. And you are, even as a result of that, you are saying, let me coil myself in my chair. I don't see anybody because everybody is talking about me. You see people talking in a group, you say, those people are actually, I know they are talking about me. What are they talking about? I don't know. Then there's a depression that comes out as a result of hormonal imbalance or as a result of things to do with the delivery. Antenatal and postnatal depression comes in when you're pregnant or when exactly you have given birth. I'm sure people have had what you call postnatal blues, or what you call depression that comes in even after delivery. And those ones are associated with hormone imbalance. Dysthymic is when people are living a little bit excited, but you don't know what is going on, and they are flat. And of course, we have also had what we call bipolar mood disorder. And this is basically where somebody at one point is very happy, at another point is different, at another point is in between. You do not know what's going on in this person. And when it's at the extreme end of everything, then that person can act in a way you realize that something is not right. And many people say, I have bipolar. The question is, how do you manage bipolar? And what we call cyclothymic disorder, this is basically you find out somebody is in different multiple stages and you wonder what's going on. That has led even to what we call depersonalization. And somebody is feeling like, I'm not myself. When people are depressed, remember, they are constantly sad, they are feeling worthless, and they are feeling like there's nothing that interests them anymore. So you find out this young girl used to work, used to enjoy her work, she no longer does her own. She rather says, let me lock myself in the house, let me stay. And most of the time when you ask them what's going on, they tell you I have no problem. I'm okay, I'm okay. Many people say they are okay. But when you look at depression, it will affect our thoughts because we tend to preoccupy with what is hurting us. It will affect our emotions, such that when we are happy, we are no longer happy. We are shedding tears. We are crying, not the cry of joy, but we are crying because something is going on in our mind. Our behavior, we tend to behave in a way that we are trying to help ourselves in the process of depression. If the depression is coming out of the relationship, you find out if I run away from this relationship, if I even kill myself, if I do a BCD, I will save myself from destruction. So when we talk about depression, then we can look at it from three categories that affect us. Number one, if you look at the first photo, is our brain, biological chemicals. And the biological chemicals are two. They are what you call the neurotransmitters, what you call the dopamine and serotonin. And most of the time when you give you a medication to do psychiatric condition, is basically to manipulate these chemicals that we feel they are not balanced. So do not find somebody taking medication, tell them, don't take this medication. No, those medications help to stabilize the mood. Those medication helps to stabilize the brain, to remove the psychotic episode so that these voices that you are hearing, you no longer hear them. And then the endocrine system. The endocrine system are basically our hormonal system that moves on from the thyroid gland, which is in our neck. Very important when we talk about some behaviors. We talk about even the gonads, even the sexual stimulating hormone. We talk about the insulin. All those things that are within the endocrine system are affected one way or the other by what's going on in our mind. Then the psychological effect is basically our thoughts and emotions. And that's why when people come for counseling, we tend to get into the thoughts and under what is going on. Because sometimes the thoughts that you are having are the one perpetuating the depression, the behaviors. So in the psychological part, we dive into our thoughts, into our behavior, into our emotions, so that we can understand them. We can understand, why do I feel the way I feel with this person? Why do I feel the way I feel with this situation? Unless you go into those kind of analysis so that you can understand yourself, the depression will not go. That's why we say cure for depression is not just the antidepressant. It's basically also what you call psychotherapy, to find out what are the thoughts provoking and contributing to what I'm feeling. The other one is social effect, the relationship that we have with people. How do we relate with the people around us? Remember, most of the depressive causes, most of them are caused by social relationship. Either they are not working or worker relationship. You are not happy. And that's why you will sit down like that lady and shed tears. You realize how frustrated you are. You realize how hurt you are. And you find yourself not functioning. So social issues, psychological issues, biological issues are things that contribute towards depression. So what are the symptoms that you're likely to see and know that somebody is depressed? Number one is mood, either low mood, unusually with unending sadness, very irritable. You are with the people, but you become extremely irritable. A small thing makes you want to burn the house. A small thing, just because you misplaced or somebody operated your computer when you're not in yesterday. You are so angry today that you're even talking about resigning. You are so angry today that you're saying, I'm not going to touch that computer anymore. The other one is anxiety and aggression. Not only are you angry, but you even want to face people. You want to be verbal or physical violence. And of course, you feel very. So when you are getting these kind of issues, angry, irritable, aggression, and anxiety, that could be a symptom that you are going through a depressive phase. Second one, and I've mentioned that earlier on, it's insomnia, lack of sleep. And sleep, I said, it could be disturbed, it could be carried also, or it could be uh, what you call delay. You are not able to get sleep. Appetite, you don't feel like. I've talked about issues. Desire allows performance issues, becomes affected. People are depressed. That is anhedonia, general lack of interest in anything. You used to enjoy doing ABC, you can't do it. The depression tells you, don't do anything, just stay still. Don't go to people, stay alone. I don't think you have ever seen, if you can go to give a very good example. If you talk about two people who are mentally ill, you are like unlikely to see them working together because they think the other person has no problem. You work family pressure about things no longer makes sense. You have gotten out of WhatsApp group. You are actually, people are looking for you, they can't get you. You cross your phone in the evening until tomorrow morning, and you find yourself having a complain about our country, complain about work, complain about your family, complain about your wife, children, all these things. Your life is lethargy, very tired, especially here on the shoulders. You feel quite tired. You feel like you have no energy to do anything. You have no drive. Most of the time, you start experiencing headache, especially this frontal headache, side headache. You find that you're having every day because as a result of all those things, what start so that you can want them. Sometimes you say nobody understands because nobody understands me and me. What let's say, yeah, starting suicide. Starting, should I die? Should I kill myself? Should I take it? Should I take a rope? Should I do anything? Because you find out that escaping from the current situation is a solution. The other day I was seeing a patient in the clinic. She came in and said, I don't want, I feel like I should die. I've looked for rope everywhere. I can't get it. I wonder whether I kill my children, I kill myself. And then I die. And you find out at that point, it's not working. And you get involved in high risk. You cross the road the way you want because you are looking forward for you to be knocked down. But maybe you are just feeling, maybe you feel pain. So you walk like that. Inability to keep friends, you lose friends as soon as you find them. You can't keep them. You find out you are not keeping this friend, start with this one. You don't see the interest in keeping any jobs. You have worked in a job for the last 3 years. You have been 3 jobs. In every job you go, you complain. So and so, the boss is like this. They don't pay. They don't do this. You don't do this, and you find yourself, or even church. If you find yourself having gone for 2, 3, 4 churches in 1 year or 2 years, then what are you? It's something you are looking for, and you have a complaint of each one. And then, of course, as a result of this, find out only the way to treat when you drink, and you drink again, and drink again, and when you now or any other drugs. And as a result of depression, one of the things that you're likely to see is lack of concentration. And physically, you want to do a task. You used to do very well in making deadlines, making reports. Now to finish a report takes time. And you wonder what is going on. And of course, forgetfulness. Those symptoms, including feeling of sadness, sometimes tearfulness, crying, emptiness, hopelessness, are kind of things that we experience. You feel I have nothing to give. So there's no need of coming to the meeting. There's nothing I can contribute. Then angry outburst. And you wonder why. Irritability, frustration, even with small matters. Loss of interest in all the things that used to make you enjoy, such as even sex, hobbies, sports. You say, no, leave me alone. I don't want to do these things. Of course, I've talked about sleep disturbances. I've talked about tiredness, lack of energy, reduced appetite, and being very agitated, less stress. You find out anything small makes you so angry. And even thinking becomes difficult. Even speaking, sometimes you find even you start dragging yourself, you start feeling lazy, feeling worthless, guilty. You are fixated in the past, saying, I wish I knew, blaming everybody, blaming your mother, blaming your father, blaming your brother. Were it not for this, I would be this. I am like this because of my mom. I'm like this because of my spouse. You wasted my time. You did all these things. You are fixated in the things of the past that you think are causing you the problem, but you can't fix them. troubles thinking. You can't concentrate on anything, and making decisions becomes very difficult. In fact, most of the time, you only remember that which is eating up, and you find out thinking of death, suicide, even attempting has been associated. Most of the death, especially most of the suicide cases, they are all associated with depression. Sometimes you find yourself even having pains, back pains, headaches, and you find these things you are not able to explain. Are there different types of depression? I mentioned them earlier, so this is just passing and saying there is what we call bipolar mood disorder. These are types: dysthymia, persistent depressive disorder over the past 2 years. You find out these things have been there for 2 years. We talked about also postpartum. This is experienced by what you call, by women when they deliver. Not all of them they experience it, but between 0 to 6 weeks, you find out after delivery, some of them have very serious postpartum depression that even refuse to breastfeed their children. And it's not that they refuse, they don't see like they are interested. They just wonder, this child, is it mine? Should I? They have no interest at all. Then, of course, there is what you call the severe one, psychotic depression mentioned, whereby there are things to do with delusions and hallucination. You hear things and you see things and you suspect, especially become extremely suspicious of people. You see what you wake up in the morning, go to the office, you find your computer has been turned around by somebody who was watching, and it becomes so delusionally. Why did it touch? Was there anything put in it? And you become so suspicious. And also, there's something else that I want to mention that comes with the season, especially in very cold season called seasonal affective disorder, common in countries where we have extreme climate change. We know, especially now when you come to our country, Kenya, coming to next month, tomorrow, June, July, August, we tend to have many of these affective disorders, especially because of the cold that moves on. So places where extreme cold comes in, you find that during that period, you're likely to have certain mental disorder. Are there causes of depression that we need to know? Yes. And some of them here we are going to mention. One, genetics. There are times we have seen depression learning in families. So you find out if one person in the family had depression, chances are we have somebody else who pick the depression. And I don't say that not all of them will pick, but we have seen cases whereby there was a case of suicide. The grandmother committed suicide, the grandfather did the same, one of the child did, the uncle did it. So you find out it tends to run in families. So we have the genetic factors, depression, but not all of them. Just like we did the mathematics of factorization, you find out it may not even happen in the current generation, but you are vulnerable because there was depression. And I will tell you that that should not be a problem that you need to worry on, because you can be able to do something about it. The other one is biological endocrine factors. I talked about them. The issues to do with chemicals in the brain or the hormones. The other one is environmental factors, financial stress. Like now I mentioned, when people are going through extreme financial challenges, depression is likely to come. When somebody sees so many debts, things are not working. It's like I've reached the end. I've borrowed everybody, I have nobody else to borrow. That could be one cause of depression. Bereavement, I've talked about it. Relationship issues, we have talked about it, either current or past, and especially when there are major changes, either when somebody marriage or marrying or employment, changing jobs or lifestyle issues that have really affected them, or relationship is not working, especially breakups, that can be a leading cause of depression. Illnesses such as diabetes, cancer, heart diseases, things that significantly interfere with your life and you feel like I cannot be what I was. Sometimes it can also be what we call transient depression, depression that comes in and goes, but it can come. Of course, I've talked about alcohol and drugs and stress and traumatic event, but there's also another cause. See, we don't know. All these other things could be looking okay, but it has just developed as an illness. So not all factors are known, but we have one cause we say, we don't know, this person was well and can get depression. So you need to note that anybody can be able to get depression. And so when you talk about depression, we are talking about an illness or a condition that anybody can suffer from. We are also going to cover it. So are there depression in older adults? Many people say because you have now taken care of your children, they are working and all that, probably you don't have depression. Now, depression is not a normal part of growing old. People should be able to know that. It's not that because you are growing old, you become depressed. It should never be taken lightly. Unfortunately, depression often goes undiagnosed and untreated, especially in older people. The symptoms of depression, and this one you're likely to see in our parents, is memory difficulty or personality changes. Just because you are going through a very difficult situation, you find that you tend to have problems, especially with short-term memory. You don't remember. And sometimes people have a problem between short-term memory problem, amnesia, and what you call dementia. So those are the things that we need to distinguish. Personality changes. You find out somebody was okay before he retired. After he retired, he has become like somebody who never worked, self-neglect, all those things, physical aches and pains everywhere. And because we know the old age goes with some of the conditions, some of them can even make it very depressed, especially arthritis and others. Fatigue, loss of appetite, sleep problems. If you find your parents and the old person have problems with sleep, appetite, fatigue, and sometimes even loss of interest in itself, not caused by any medical condition, then we can ask ourselves what's going on. And often want to stay at home, find out they don't want to go to anywhere, they don't socialize with anybody, they don't do new things. They can wake up and sit on the chair the whole day, sometimes what, and even talking about death all the time, even asking God, why is it taking too long? I've looked at people of my age, they're all dead. Why am I not dying? So they are trying to tell you, I'm tired. So those are the symptoms you are likely to see. In children, you are likely to see them isolating themselves. Common signs and symptoms of depression in children and teenagers are similar to those adults, but there can be some difference. In young children, symptoms of depression may include sadness. You find out you are talking to your daughter, in a short period of time, she's crying. Anything you ask, she's tears are letting down. Irritability. They are throwing things around the house. They are breaking things all the time. They tend to enjoy when doors are being banged. And that banging is not the issue, banging. And clinginess, they don't want to let you go. They say, Mom, you don't go to work today, stay with us. And worry, always worried about what's going to happen. That is not around. So and so is not around. This is not happening. They are worried. Aches and pain. Refusing to go to school and being underweight. They even refuse to eat. I'm sure you have seen children when they are not happy in school. They are not happy going to school. They wake up in the morning and say, Mommy, I'm not going to school today. Why? I'm having stomachache or something like that. But when you go to work, you come back at 10. Oh, they are playing around. They are really enjoying their life. What are they telling you? Something in school I'm not happy about. There's something in school that is eating me up. That's why I am withdrawing. In teens, you also likely to see issues of sadness, irritability I've talked about, very big, very negative, worthlessness, anger, bags of anger. They never used to shout at you as a father or as a mother. But now you're talking to a teenager boy. He's talking to you the way he wants. And you wonder what is going on. Sometimes you become violent to them. They become violent to you. Performance issues in school. They don't want to go to school. They miss school. Feeling that you don't understand them. They tell you, Mommy, you belong to another world. We don't understand each other. Extremely sensitive, using recreational drugs, and find out that they have started smoking, they have started drinking, they have started even sometimes doing things that you are wondering what it is. Sometimes it's sleeping too much. If you don't wake her up, she will sleep the whole day and tell you, I slept last night. Today I woke up at 4 in the evening. Now, okay. And you wonder, is this sleep normal? The other thing you're likely to see in adults, especially young girls, is self-harm. Sometimes talk about, you find out they are trying to cut themselves. I've seen many of them using a razor, try to cut their wrist, and they say they enjoy when they wonder what's loss of interest in normal activities, don't want to go to church with you, they avoid social interaction. If they are visitors at home, they take off. Then you wonder what is going on in their mind. If these symptoms are persistent and they are going on for some period of time, then you may need someone to penetrate the mind of this person, the mind of this young person. What is mentioned? So before we wind up, let's talk about how to take care of. And I have a few practical things that you can use to be able to help yourself when such a situation lies. Number one, we always say that you need, this is not number one, this is number two. Number one should have been one that says, talk to somebody. We know that when you are going through a depressive phase, one of the things that you need to do is catharsis, talking to somebody who can take care of you. And this is what we are calling psychological first aid. We are even training people who we are calling health champions. When you are going through a difficult situation, one of the best things that you do is to them. Somebody who will not go to broadcast what you have said. Listen to you. I listen to you. And because I can be able to help, I can be able to refer you for help. Or this is my contribution. And you may find out with the psychological first aid, what you have discussed with that person may just be the solution to it. And that's why people are looking for someone to talk to so that you can empty the luggage in your head. What is eating you up? You want to release it. And sometimes you say a problem shared is half solved. So anytime you're going through a problem, look for someone you can talk to. And that's why even our services are there. You have nobody you can talk to, and you find out whatever you are going through is disturbing. It's just a phone call away. Give you the contact. Call and say, I want to talk to somebody. I'm going through a challenge, and this challenge is interfering. Work, this challenge is interfering. That's what. So the first thing, you can talk to a friend, or talk to your mother, you can talk to your friend, you can talk to a brother, anybody who can talk to you, you can listen to. And you find out maumivu mengi bando, and that's what we say. Maumivu yakizidi, mwone daktari. You can always come back to us. Number 2, keep active. Always active. And that's why we say when you keep yourself busy with regular exercise, you go to the gym, you take a walk, you feel better. Many times when you do some of those things that stimulate the body, stimulate the brain as you see it there will produce something called dopamine, what do you call it? Dopamines, not dopamine. We increase the dopamine, yes, but there's something called endorphins. These are what you call some receptors that help the body to relax. So exercise are so important when you are going through a challenge. So when the doctor tells you take a walk, when you tell you go to the gym, and many people fear the gym because when you go to the gym, of course, there's some reaction of the body to the gym. So you tend to miss it. And when you don't go again, then the problem is take a walk. Sometimes I tell people you don't have to get into a bedroom, take the rope, skip, or jump like 200 times the way Masai's jump up, up, up. And find out at the end of the day, you feel much relieved. You don't have time for that. So keep active. Number 3, what you are eating is important. We know that some of the food, when we are very depressed, when we are not happy, we tend to eat junk food. We tend to eat food that involve crashing. Most of them are very rich in what we call carbohydrates. We need to eat well because we know a healthy body benefit from what we call a healthy nutrients. So we need to look at what are you eating. See bora chakula. You are eating something that boosts your body because your immunity, your resilience towards diseases is also contributing. And why am I talking about nutrition? Many times when people are going through depression, they develop what we call anorexic behavior. They feel like I should eat. Either some resort too much eating and eating everything, or others say, I don't want to eat. They just take little just to remain alive. So when you talk about nutrition, we are basically talking about mental health because mental health interferes with the appetite, interferes with eating, and that becomes an issue. The fourth one is that keep in touch with friends. We have already seen that one symptom of depression is keeping away from friends. You delete all your phone numbers, you make sure that your phone is off, and you try to get away. Remember, depression has one element: hopelessness, worthlessness, and it tends to isolate yourself. So that is why one common feature of depression is to keep away. If you have a friend, find out this friend is keeping away. Please for them. Please talk to them. Because most of them, they even delete their phone numbers. And they even you don't want to know when you are very depressed with the challenge. You feel like nobody else can assist you. That's why try to touch. Even if not everybody, have a circle of who can share what is going on. The other one asks for help. There is nothing wrong in asking for help. There's nothing wrong in making a call and call to the I want assistance. Many people they say, no, mimi ni mwanaume, especially for men. I can't go and talk about my problem. Wacha nijikaze kiume. But then you go down. That's why we talk about depression. Very serious cases will come to men. Women are very good at talking issues. And if you find a group of older ladies, you find out they can spend 20 minutes, 1 hour sitting down and talking about, they say, sasa nimesikia mzuri wacha niende nyumbani. So they are able to do a catharsis. They are able to. So please look for somebody who can when things are good. And if you have somebody who can listen to you nicely, talk to you. So in those kind of things, we also say that you look for something philanthropic, something that makes you enjoy life, something that makes you feel happy. And that's what you call the number 7 we have missed up there. So you need to get yourself, because when you have lost interest in it, you need to train yourself. You need to mix up with yourself. So when you talk about workplace as you wind up, how can I support a colleague with a mental problem? I'm sure this is a common problem that I've seen in many occasions that we have done presentation. If you want to assist somebody, know that is a challenge. Number 1, we say find where I taught. If you realize I've withdrawn myself and I'm not talking to you, I want to talk to you, make sure the time is right. Have sufficient time to communicate 30 minutes, 1 hour, and be in the right place. Not in a noisy place, in a place whereby concentration will treat them. Number two, use active listening. Many times we are used to going and dictating. We are saying we are doing like this, and even giving a diagnosis that the way we have seen you, you must be pressed, you must be stressed. What they want is somebody to listen and have active listening. When somebody starts talking, listen to them. Don't interrupt them. And listening is being what you call active listening. Attention is what you call leaning forward, keeping eye contact, and saying somebody that is so important. To the point that even when the phone comes, you say, you don't pick the phone, listen to this person. That it makes this person who's going through a challenge know that despite the fact that you somebody can listen to, that process is much better. So they understood. Try and have eye contact when you're talking. Unless the person is not looking at you, make sure that you are comfortable. Make sure the body, you observe the body language. How is he sitting? How is he expressing himself? Don't make them sit. And usually we say, talking to such a person, sit in a place where you are at the same level. You don't want people to come like you. What is the problem? Sometimes you tell people who are depressed, what is the problem? They tell you, I don't have a problem, because they don't see the problem that you see and manage your own. Even if they say things that you don't like, even if they say things that maybe is contradictory, just manage it. Let them talk, because that is what is going to do them. And ask them questions that can actually help them talk. And we always ask them, don't ask them why. Don't ask them, especially we talk about these questions that are very intimidating. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? No, people would be happy to do what makes you like this, what makes you like this, and how do you want to, and ask questions. The question you say is, how do you want? What is making you feel like this? How do you do this? If you can be very supportive and sit down with your colleagues and approach it from that could help. And where you feel that you cannot be able to penetrate beyond that wall, then you can always take us. I know I'm your friend. I know probably you will not feel comfortable telling me what you can find. I can find your trick where you can. Even if you have not supported that person, I can assure you that person knows that you have listened for help. So let's not sit down with depression and lack what you call help. Now, how do you treat depression? There are 3 ways of treating depression. The first one is what you call simple counseling, where people come in, talk, and know what's going on, and treat and thoughts. That's what you call counseling or psychotherapy. The second one is what you call pharmacotherapy or use of medication, whereby they go see a psychiatrist, they are put on medication. Because whatever they are going through, the depressive symptom requires some intervention of antidepressant. The third one is a combination of both psychotherapy and what you call some pharmacotherapy. That means they are going through the process of counseling and talking about what's going on. At the same time, they have others who are in ECT, where people are admitted in the hospital, managed as inpatient. All those methods are treatment. And especially with depression, it's totally manageable. So if we can look at it and address some of those issues related to that, it can be much more in our system. So let's not wait, see it and worry ourselves with depression, worry ourselves with things we cannot manage. It is possible to manage this depressive symptom. It is possible to be our brother's keeper. And we find out once that is done, productivity will go up and we shall be able to manage some of these conditions. So I want to come to an end there. And before I get to an end, I can see a number of questions. So I will respond to a few of them. But basically, that's what we'll talk about today, looking at depression as a whole and telling you that it's manageable. Is there a lot of religion in depression? Of course, yes. When people pray and actively get involved, they get catharsis. When people even talk to their pastors are good enough and well educated in terms of mental health, you'll be able to say, yes, this is an issue that you have talked, pray over it, but address the issues that are concerned. When they realize they can't do it, best pastor is one who tend to the hospital, tells you, from what I've done, I know with God is everything is possible, but He has given us also knowledge to treat this condition. Don't abandon treatment to your God church. No, both of them should go hard. Prayers are important, but also dealing with the problem is also important. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I want to end there, but I think if you allow me sign up before I end, there are a few questions that I can see posted here. I don't know whether I should respond to them at this point. Is that okay?
Yes, Dr. Just before you respond, we request you to put your camera on so that our viewers can see you.
It is on.
No, we've not been seeing you.
Oh, you have not been seeing me. I don't know what's happening. sorry. Now I put it on now. I don't know why it's not on.
Okay, we're not seeing it, but that's okay. We understand. Yes, there are a few questions here. I don't know whether you can see them on your end.
Yes, I can see a few questions. Let me, one from WHO. Yeah, there is an echo. I think that one is sorted out. MK is asking, you can share your questions and queries. Okay, fine. Then kindly share your questions. We will address them. Okay, I see that one.
Let me ask you one on my side. I can see, please talk about, okay. Hi, Doc. Most friends nowadays, their problems are financial. And you find that once you see their call, you tend to I think he's trying to say to get depressed too, because they will always be talking of them being in a fix and your position. I get this question, maybe I just try and rephrase it so that we can understand. Hi, Doc. Most friends nowadays have issues. So whenever you see their phone, I guess they should be asking for money, and this always depresses you. I don't know. You are able to assist Saidia so that we don't ignore each other. So he's asking, what can you do so that we don't ignore each other? Because most of the phone calls nowadays are about money.
Yeah, I think in my presentation I mentioned that when people are going through economic recession, issues of mental health have to be up. When people are calling you and they're asking to borrow the money, there are two types of people. There are those people who are used to borrowing and not paying. So it's part of their lives. They borrow here, they borrow there, and they don't bother paying. And they will ask you, in fact, they reach the end of borrowing, they say, now tell me. Now, we can give at a certain point, but sometimes our giving can create a dependency such that this person do not look at you as if you assist them to move on with their life. They tend to feel it's your duty, so they will call you every day. So that means they transformed your assisting to a kind of dependence that they are looking for you. Because you gave them yesterday, you can also give them today. Those tends to make you very tired. And that's one of the reasons that you look at their phone and say, I will not pick this phone because I know what is the content of the phone. So it becomes disturbing. And you feel like I wanted to assist, but this person seemed to take advantage of my way of help. So that's one of the things. So you find out that when you see the phone and you know what the person asked yesterday, last week, and today, it just irritates you and you don't want to. The best thing is not even to the phone. The best thing is to talk to this person. I assisted. This is what you get. Tell me what you do. Just like the way you see. Don't give me the fish. Show me how to fish. And most of these people sometimes they tell you they are so helpless. Hakuna kasi, hakuna nini. The question is back, now that this job is done, what can you do? Because I can assist you tomorrow. I can assist you today. But I will not be assisting you on a daily basis. So you need to do something. You need to do something about that. So that is what you call confronting this person in a more friendly way to be a better person. When you put that part of the person, then you will not be able to come back on it. You will actually be able to go for a better solution than handouts. So that's one of the problems. So the person who gets disturbed is the person who will be called all the time. This other person who has become dependent on borrowing, he looks at it as a way of life. And he says, so and so is my brother, so and so is there. So I'll keep on borrowing, and they become difficult. But remember, when you stop giving them, they start becoming annoyed with you and they talk negative things about you. So it is like you are in a catch-22 position. If you don't give, they talk negative about you. If you give, they say, so and so doesn't care, take care of his money. So those are the kind of things. But the best thing to do is to enable this person to become better and manage his life. I think that would be my answer. The other question I've seen here is a question here by JN. And Jane is asking, on psychotic drugs, please talk about various generation drugs. Are the latest generation drugs better if patient can afford? I would say yes. When we talk about psychotic drugs, they call them antipsychotics. And most of them are there, orazapine, many others, quetiapine, many others. Now, they are the old generation. Because the old generations are there, sometimes you find many people which have more efficacy and effect. So if you can afford them, that's okay. But doesn't mean the old ones are not. And when we talk about mental health drugs, psychiatric medication, they are different. They are those we call anxiolytics. Those are the ones dealing with anxiety condition. They are what we call antidepressants. These are the ones dealing with depressive condition. It's what we call antipsychotics. These are the ones that deal with people who are having delusions, who are having paranoia, and who are having hallucinations. So they differ, all of them, and they don't work on the same for the same person. There's somebody who responded very well to wisdom. There's somebody else who responded very well to something else like orazapine. So it depends on the people, and it depends on the grammage. There are people who take 5 milligrams. There are people who put on 10 milligrams. You're talking about drugs like quetiapine. We put on different milligrams depending on the condition of the person. So it doesn't mean because somebody was taking, borrow and take no, that would be difficult. So this is basically what I can mention about those drugs. The next thing I am seeing another question. Thank you very much. This is a compliment. Great presentation. Can you give those lectures if invited to a certain group or organization? Yeah, we do come to organization. We are saying we are taking mental health with the people. So if you invite us, please pick our number. It's down there. It's 072252. I mean, it's 0721 361616. I will show you the screen down. The other question, yes, we can get in touch. Yes, we can reach out to us on our wellness mail. Yeah, you can see that again. The other question I see here, it's awesome session. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Aslanzana. Thank you. Great session. Thank you, Sainab and Dr. Wahome. Thank you very much. The other one, hi, Dr. Kindly share contact for psychotherapy expert you work with that you can comment. I've given the number there, 0721361616. If you call, you get a little code easier. She'll be able to direct you accordingly to the person. You can see a great presentation. Thank you very much. And somebody called Red, very brilliant and presentation. Thanks to the center. Thank you very much. I think, is it possible for us to get this recording? Of course, I think sign up, you can prepare for that. Great presentation. Thank you very much. Nice presentation. I think that's all. Thank you, Dr. We need to see you. Please put the camera on. I have put it on. I don't know why it's not coming up. That means thank you very much. Or to see your number. Our number again, I have said is 0721 361616. We are located in High Ridge, Amand Plaza. So if you're in High Ridge, Amand Plaza, you can somebody there 24 hours. I mean, not 24 hours, 12 hours. So even at night when you call, you cannot direct the coordinate. Thanks you, a nice presentation. I think the last one is from GY. Can we get these slides and recording also for our future references? Thank you very much. Sign up, I will share this with you. Can also be able to give the map. Do you have a branch in Mombasa? We don't have a branch in Mombasa, but we have contacts that we work with Mombasa. So if you can reach on us, we can connect you. Awesome, informative. Daktari, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you. I think that's the end. Asante.
Okay, Daktari, before you leave,
yes,
there's one you haven't. There's a question you haven't responded to. Apart from the many, thank you so much. They're so overwhelming. We're so glad that you joined us. We have like 3 to 4 minutes on our time. Please, Daktari, talk about depersonalization and derealization disorder and how can one heal from it. I don't know how long that will take, or is it another session?
Yes, they is saying, please talk about depersonalization and derealization disorder and how one can heal from it. Now, let's first of all break it in small pieces. Personalization, depersonalization. That is when you are not feeling at yourself. You have heard many people saying that I am not like myself. I feel I am out of myself. It's like I'm looking at myself from a certain mirror, or I'm outside myself and I'm the subject. That one is what you call dissociative disorder. A dissociative disorder is when you feel like you are out of yourself and you are not able to feel. It's like you're not feeling. It's like there's a difference between you and the other person. That is depersonalization. You feel like you are not yourself. It's whatever is going on, it's like you're outside. And within conditions in mental health for dissociative disorders, that is one of them. And basically, that means there's a problem between the person and what is going on. Yes, they are manageable conditions. The other one is derealization. Derealization, you feel like things are not real. It's like you live in a certain world of denial that whatever is going on, you just ignore. You just don't feel it. People see it's like when you have somebody going through a very difficult situation, somebody who is going through bereavement or anything, but he's laughing. It's okay. He's relating as if nothing happened. Only for him to be affected by what is going on, what you call delayed grief reaction, much, much better. But at the point of going through whatever they are going, they are not. They are going, well, that's what we call de-realization. They are not in touch with the reality at that point. Now, the reason for this could vary. Depression could be one of them. The other one could be also be a psychotic depression. That means they have suffering from one of the mental condition and probably a mood condition. And because of that, they are experiencing something called delusional thought that they are not themselves, they are out there. So most of these conditions, when they are very serious, would not only benefit psychotherapy, but they would also need some psychiatric medication so that they can be able to be reality. And that's what we talk about. Many people, they are out there. But the difference between depersonalization is that people feel it, and people feel they are not themselves. So it's quite different from when people are having hallucination where they don't know where they are, they don't know what they are saying. But with the depersonalization, you feel, yes, it's me, but I don't feel it's me. It's like I am outside observing myself. And when you do that, that is the disconnect in the persona and himself. That goes through the process of psychotherapy. Sometimes we use other methods called psychoanalysis so that we can be able to use dissociation and association as a person closer. So it is a big topic. It can be dealt with, but we have various forms of treatment to bring this person to realize the person of the realization. We also, some of the treatment people have gone in some of these issues to be the hypnosis as a result of these particular issues where people see they are hypnotized, they are out of sense of reality. So those kind of situations can be like what is depersonalization. So it's a manageable condition, it can be treated, and most of the time it's going to use various type of psychotherapy treatment that can be the realization. I hope whoever have asked the question, I've answered the question I don't know whether there's any other question.
Thank you, Dr. We will be sharing the other questions on your email so that you can respond to them, because time is not on our side. But we are humbled you are able to join us today. Our viewers, you can actually visit Dr. on the directions that have been given on the screen. And because I know it's a Friday and people would like to get moving, I want to appreciate each and everybody who has participated in this. And on behalf of Dr. on behalf of the APA Insurance, the medical team, I also take this opportunity to congratulate our own CEO, Mr. Ashok Sir, for being awarded an award of CEO of the Year Africa. Congratulations, Mr. Ashok. We are glad you could run up with this award, and sure you lived unto it. We are happy to join you in this celebration. And to our teams here, my supporters on my back office, that is Anne Modoni and Eric, who is our digital specialist. We are so happy that you joined us this morning. And on behalf also of our medical team, our medical director, David Mumo, our head of retention, Sheila Gishui, our head of marketing, Charles Mbogwa, our underwriting manager, Samuel Mogeke. On behalf of the wellness team, the main manager, the clinical manager, Jemima Mbugua, and the wellness team, as well as the case management. And on behalf of all the medical team, my name is Zaina Bokalo, who was your host. We're so humbled to have you. We wish you a very, very, very happy weekend ahead. Please take care of your mind. Remember, you are able to undo your inner strength, and we believe we have empowered you today. Otherwise, God bless you so much and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you very much and goodbye.